Hello everyone, 1 versus 1 here for you between the Titan and Qzipco, played on Forgery, or the Forgery, whichever you want. If you want to be splitting hairs about it, that's up to you. We're going to have the main view in picture there, and this is the planet just quickly slooping around. You can see the metal placement there, so you can kind of see with the expansions, but we'll get onto that in due course. On the South Pole here in green, we have Titans spawning as MLA with bots first. PGen, PGen, air second to vehicle third, I would suspect, looking at the way that he's built those. Meanwhile, on the south opposite pole, in other words, the North Pole, you've got Qzipco going vehicles first. Bit of a trade-up from the meta. Typically players go bots first for the com reclaim. Vehicles first, bot second, air third, with a couple of PGens there. Okay. Right. That's interesting. Typically, bots go first because you get the combat fabricator out in the current meta, and the combat fabricator reclaims the commander for a sudden injection of 30 metal. You can see there the Titan's metal is on 56, whereas it would have been on 26 had it just been with the com and whatever. It is 30 metal, isn't it? Yeah, 30 metal by reclaiming that com. So Qzipco isn't getting that, but at the same time he has got the potentially more efficient fabricators going around building their stuff. What do we got though? I mean, you do also tend to see bots used early game anyway, because they can rush to your opponent, maybe do a bit of harassing, get a bit of vision, get a bit of scouting, potentially pick up a few fabs and lock down a few areas. And you can kind of see how Qzipco is using his docks at the moment. But the thing is, that's at a delay because he went vehicles first. Meanwhile, Titan actually has a similar number of docks out, probably because of the combat fabs, so perhaps it's not too much of a deficit there, really. We'll have to see how this plays out, because this is curious that they're still pretty even Stevens despite no com reclaim. Factories 3, mobile units 14, look at that. Neck and neck there. Although Titan is actually behind him, What? Titan is behind in terms of the overall value of his base. He's actually playing a little bit on the defensive here. He's not moving out his docks to go and zone out a few things, but he is moving out for some expansion on this side with this fabricator move up here and maybe grab some of these mechs over here. A few choke points in this area that you can go and build a few turrets on, which is a good way to go there. So what do we got? Lots of tanks coming out, lots of docks, very heavy aggression here from Qzipco. These docks will find these tanks. And, well, forced to retreat there. Didn't manage to pick up that ant. T2 from Titan. T2 vehicles, as you would expect, on the Forgery. Levelers and Shellers, very, very powerful indeed. Certainly with all these choke points going around. The air game, kinda not really a big thing. What? Lobs? 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 This far into the game you're building lobs? Okay, we'll have to see how that goes. This is what I meant by the turret lockdown here, so these docks will not be able to get in, and the height of that turret is actually good for shooting over this ramp, so really nice placement there from Qzipco. Titan making sure he does get the expansions over on that side. Now, this is interesting. Qzipco, rather than moving his units in prematurely, has just sort of sat them there around saying, you know what, I'm happy with where I have right now. I don't need to move in. Though he decides to do so now anyway. Thing is, he doesn't have any... Ooh, don't know what that was. Any skitters in there, so he will run into mines here if he keeps pressing in, because he cannot see them without a skitter or a combat fabricator there. Oh, manages to shoot one inadvertently, but down they go, and I hear some lobs firing in the background there. We have two of them, T2 vehicles now being rushed up, but now we've got a lot of docks that can stream in. His docks production has suddenly shot up, plus he's supporting it with his eco. Levels out for Titan, but the docks are through the minefield. There's too many of them, and they are in the base. This isn't great news. Combat fab there, somehow staying alive. There we go. Docks moving around. by Qzipco, and he's got more to come up the rear. What is this? Have we just seen the evolution of the lob strat? So rather than the lobber rush, the lobber... I don't know, what do you even... I don't know. The lob supplement strat? The lob beef everything else up strat? The lob follow-up strat? I don't know. What are we going to call this one? Because it seems to be working okay for him. I mean, Titan has now got the T2 on this side, pushing up a little bit. Thing is, by the time that gets to the base, Qzipco's going to have a few levelers of his own. Qzipco desperately trying to lock down some of Titan's expansions over on this side, and is going to pick up a fabricator really nicely there. Going to lock down all of this metal with these docks. I mean, look at that horde of docks. That's a lot of them there. Air game traded there again. I think Titan's thinking, oh... well, there was me thinking this was a standard game of PA. Well, no, it is not. You play a game versus Qzipco, it's never going to be a standard game of PA. Boombots used nicely there to counter levelers. Really ideal, but the reason I've kind of gone to Titan's view here is so that we can see what he can see at the base. He doesn't see the lobs, and he doesn't see the T2. He does now see a leveler, so he can be assured that Qzipco has T2. Again, Qzipco has the defender's advantage here, but on this side, the docks just pushing in. And the air is not supplemented with bombers at this point. Docks can continue to push in, splitting off there, going for the expansion raiding, and stopping just short of the minefield, but the docks don't give a damn. And what's more, they can just push in again now. Titan scouts the base. What does he see? He sees the lobs, he sees the T2, he sees the general base production there, and wow, the number of docks here just completely swallowing up the levelers, of course. Levelers great for sort of gradual pushes, but they're not great if they get completely caught out in the open there. That is exactly what is going on here with Qzipco. Although they haven't reached critical mass here, they will be mopped up. Titan having to be forced on the hard defensive here. Let's have a look at the army tab to see quite what's going on. Titan more factories, but unit counts Qzipco in the lead here by lobs. So rather than using lobs as something where in my introductory video it was kind of to get over bits of terrain, they're now being used as an army supplement. Oh wow. There was just a lot of docks that just died there. The dock's death, disaster of some description, I don't know. I mean, that is the thing with lobs, they vastly increase the kill count, providing you're able to defend against this. Titan, interestingly, going for heavy air here. I kind of like this. Going heavy air will allow him to go bombers, providing he has the economy for it. And bombers will allow him to deal with this dock spam. The thing is, Qzipco hasn't got a very strong air game right now. He's only got one air factory and will continue to only have one air factory. This is nice. Oh, but we've got boombots coming in. We got boombots coming in. I think they're just going to continue to be for the anti-levelers. Well, a nice lull in the action at long last. More boombot factories being created there. Wow, there's a lot of them coming up in the Niswardly direction. Taking out a few docks there, but the air game for Titan gets the scout on a whole bunch of boombots coming in a Niswardly direction. There is a commander caught in the open. Oh, they're not going for it. Okay, I was going to say, if they streamed through there, we could have actually seen a boombot snipe. What is going on with these boombots? Are they just... is that their rally point now? I don't know. Maybe they... wow, okay. How curious. Qzipco now, having forced Titan on the defensive for so long, is actually saying, okay, well, I'll push out and start getting my map control. Surprised that he wasn't doing it at the same time, though, but he really does need metal at this point. He hasn't necessarily expanded quite as far as he needs to. He's still left a few metal sites unclaimed, and with T2 in your base, he does need, and he is working on the T2 economy there, so that's good to see. And that'll support him going into the next part of this game. Similarly to Titan, also struggling with his eco, just a smidgen. Perhaps he's building factories a little bit too fast, but he is trying to expand desperately here. Again, it's another case of just seeing for Titan what Qzipco has and where he can get through. And yeah, we got boombots streaming through here. We'll go around the back of these vehicles and completely cut them off. Ah, look at that. And pelter shots coming in. Another good thing that the boombots do when they do that is they actually draw the fire of the units. So in a pincer movement like that, the boombots draw the fire away from the main bulk, allowing them to do maximum damage, and the boombots are kind of hard to hit anyway. So I suppose there's an interesting decision there. Do you run your boombots in, lose a bunch of boombots, and potentially do some damage, and allow the main force to do damage? Or do you send in the main force, and then the boombots thereafter to mop up? It's kind of up to you, and I suppose it also depends on what the unit composition is at that point. Because of course, boombots do not want to be sent against docks. They are the Achilles heel, of course. More boombots coming in, and this is kind of the bad situation here for Titan. He's been locked down so hard. There's T2 in his base, and there's boombots to supplement any units he does send out because he went so heavy on vehicles and not enough on bots. And so this is kind of it for Titan. His air advantage isn't really doing him any good yet. As long as he can hold off for just a little bit longer, he may be able to get to that point, but Qzipco now realizing, yeah, okay, that's going to be Titan's main thing at this point. I need to get into the air game and sort it out. Just in case, because otherwise I cannot push in. I suppose he could push in, I was going to say, with spinners, and there they are. Coming in really nicely there. Looking down bumblebees. Commander running for the hills, but Qzipco's base now in full flourish mode. Lots and lots of air factories. The air game for Qzipco is coming to fruition. He's got the economy. The army tab there we can see again, leading by a good 20 units and 5 factories. Don't forget a lot of that is going to be these lobs. And Titan concedes. He had no units in his base. As I suppose if we went back to that army tab, everything is disappearing now, so it's not really a true value, but if we went back to the army tab, a lot of his army were boombots and hummingbird interceptors, which are, suffice to say, not fantastic when it comes to dealing with levelers. I mean, boombots, yeah, but when Qzipco has enough docks to defend his levelers against boombots like that, they're kind of obsolete, really, at that point, unless you get in behind or find a gap. And hummingbirds, at the rate that he was producing them, when there really was no air game contention at that early stage in the game, kind of lost him that little bit of map control, I suppose, because if he'd gone heavier on bombers, then he wouldn't necessarily been able to lock down a few more of Qzipco's expansions. He might have been able to kill off a few more fabs before the lobs got going. He might have been able to snipe the T2 before that got going, but I don't know. So what do we call this then? Because, I mean, using lobs is cheese, right? But that wasn't a lob rush. That was... yeah, that wasn't traditional cheese. Do we call that, I don't know, evolved cheese? Matured cheese? I don't know. But anyway, that was that game. Congratulations to Qzipco, commiserations to Titan. Well fought, but was not prepared for the lob supplement. I think that might have been what won it, really. Wow, GG's. GG's indeed. Hope you enjoyed it, folks. Don't forget to pop any likes or dislikes or whatever. Or any comments. Until next time, hope you've enjoyed it. Bye for now. Combat fabs up again. Oh! That is a proxy telly if ever there was one. That's a telly in your base, Alpha. What is this? Purges seeping through. What is this? We're going to have necromancers coming through as well. They will get focused down. The orb weavers are there to defend them, however, so no chains coming off here. Necromancers want to spread out, though, because they are still susceptible to leveler snipes. But my goodness me, the purges are in. Flying left, right, and center. Let's go down into dynamic camera here and see what is coming through. Orb weavers moving away from the necromancers. The necromancer chains! It does not. Very, very fortunate indeed. There's not enough in terms of actual unit defense here. Are units still coming through that teleporter? It would appear not.